Hi, welcome to A Week in Walford, the EastEnders review show presented by two people with suitcases full of back issues of the Radio Times. I'm David Brown.
And I'm Sarah Doran.
This week's headlines: Ben leaves,
Mel and Tiffany return,
and uneasy race relations. Okay, so scenes just shown on BBC One tonight saw Harry Reid leave EastEnders as Ben Mitchell, the best of the Ben Mitchells, I think.
Well, the best bar the "you need smacking down"
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is my one thing I will give to his predecessor.
Yeah, the one I'm often referred to, which is a little bit unfair, I think. But yeah, I thought it was a kind of confusing ending for Ben. I didn't quite know why he had a sudden impetus to leave. No,
I just think very suddenly he was like, I'm holding on to money from my dad because my dad was going to get, messed about.
Was he telling the truth?
Was he? Then he was like passing off bits of jewellery left, right and centre, and then suddenly he's on a boat to Calais.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like he'd had belated concern about Abby. He hadn't been too bothered about that to begin with. He suddenly felt slighted by his dad. He was saying an emotional, coded farewell to his mum, and then he was gone. And it did feel like it was like sweeping Ben out, exit stage left to me a little bit.
It was like a bit of wrapping up quite quickly a storyline that's probably been numerous storylines we could say has been going on for years and years and years, but maybe wrapping up a little bit too quickly.
But that's been kind of like the marker of EastEnders of late. The storylines and the characters that they want to write out have all been done very quickly. So we had, the stalker Tom, Gethin, the teacher, all the Wilmot Browns, they all went very, very quickly.
It was quite blink and you miss it, wasn't it? You missed a week, you missed a lot.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think it is feeling quite disjointed. I mean, not just Ben, but at the start of the week we had all of Aidan's gang not on the scene anymore, and I didn't really know how they'd kind of evaded capture.
Have they all gone on a coach trip around Europe?
Well, Phil's suddenly in Italy, but could he really have outrun the police? I mean, it seemed a little bit unbelievable.
He's getting on,
Yeah, but we're supposed to kind of make sense of all this ourselves. Usually it's on screen, but a lot of the action is taking place off screen, and we don't know how it's like with the money in the suitcase tonight. At what point was that switched?
Where did it go?
Yeah, really strange. But I mean, I will miss Ben. I thought he was good value, and I kind of had hopes that he and Jay would become the next generation of Mitchell brothers.
Like Phil and Grant, and I have hopes that in about 10 years he'll come back. They'll have gotten somebody new in to play Doran and Heather's son, who will secretly plot revenge, maybe try to kill Phil.
Yeah, that would be quite good. Yeah,
it's all the rage at the moment.
Yeah, you need to get signed up to Elstree immediately. And as Ben left, we also had two returnees. Mel, Tamsin Outhwaite, making a much publicised comeback, and little Tiffany, not so little.
No, not so anymore.
But the Mel thing, I mean, I thought that was quite interesting. We saw a lot of Mel kind of via shaky cam, hiding behind trees, wasn't it?
A lot of femme fatale.
Yes, exactly.
I was waiting for her to boil someone's bunny.
Yeah. She seemed a little bit hard, didn't she? And kind of, not taking any prisoners. But again, I didn't quite understand the whole kind of following Ben to Dover malarkey.
No, I mean, I was like, what is she after? We kind of knew she would be connected in some way, perhaps, to the heist.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he already had the papers in the bag, why did she follow him to Dover if it was her? So maybe that's a hint that she's not the one that's taking the money.
It could be Ciara Maguire, couldn't it? You quite like Ciara Maguire.
I love Ciara Maguire. Yeah. So Denise McCormick, the actress who plays Ciara, bit of a national treasure at home in Ireland. You'll have seen her in Red Rock on BBC.
That's right.
She also did a drama series called Love Hate, and she's just fantastic. She's a brilliant actress. Came second in the Irish Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah,
she was robbed. Robbed she was, and looks like she's been robbed again.
Yes, that's true. I think she's going to be around for a little while, yes, anyway. I think, if she hasn't got the cash, then she's going to want all that money and jewellery back. So, yeah, we saw Mel and Ciara make an appearance too. Tiffany, what did we make of Tiffany?
This was strange. So when Tiff got that, or when Martin got that phone call, I was like, oh my gosh, what have they done? Have they hired somebody in to do like a cut price Patsy Palmer?
Yes.
And then we realised it was Tiff. And the whole storyline was so strange. The suggestion that Bianca had tried to harm herself coming at the end instead of a pregnancy, I just found it a bit out of the blue, to be perfectly honest.
And I mean, what I do appreciate is the fact that they've now given Whitney something to anchor her to the square. I think the worst thing they did with Whitney last year was to have her get involved with Mick Carter. But I thought that was kind of born out of the fact that there's no family there for her anymore.
No, she's got nothing left really. Ryan's gone, Bianca's gone.
Exactly.
There's nobody really around, and it's a bit sad, really.
So now she has that. So I'm hoping after a slightly kind of, a slightly clunky week, it'll settle down now with
something
Tiff.
to do.
And something else I found very, very clunky this week was why Karen Taylor in the laundrette suddenly became a casual racist.
Yeah, it all felt a bit like a cartoon kind of caricature going on when she's in telling Mr. Papadopoulos, you know, get out, you asylum seeker.
Yes, and then all the stuff with Ian and Masood as well. It all, you know, when they thought the child was being like radicalised and stuff.
Yeah, and what I found interesting was that they brought up the fact that Masood had made a joke about his aunt and uncle trying to radicalise a child in front of a police officer who had just been there to help them find the missing child. And they were just quite happy to let it go. I mean, could there not have been a worry that maybe the child ran away because there was some truth in that? Obviously, we know there's not.
But they would have been speed dialing social services.
Yeah, it just felt like they would have been, maybe the social worker would have come in at some point as well.
I mean, it's very hard for soaps to kind of do race issues, I think, because they have to kind of prioritise neighbourliness and the fact that we're all striving towards this neighbourly utopia where everyone kind of gets along with everybody else. So any kind of like undertone of racism usually comes from people outside the square. It's usually like you have Nick Cotton come back in periodically to be racist.
It's a wrong'un who comes in and says it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
and then they're rounded up and kind of evicted. But when it's Karen Taylor doing it, it's kind of what we now supposed to make of Karen. Are we supposed? It kind of, you lose sympathy for her, really, don't you?
Yeah, you kind of start to think, well, do I really want to like get behind you at any point? Do I want you to get that job?
That's the problem. I mean, I know Dot has always traditionally mispronounced Mr. Papadopoulos' name, but this was kind of like a caricatured version of it, wasn't it? And it was a little bit strange.
Yeah, it felt like a purposeful mispronunciation.
Yeah. But I know it sounds like we've been very critical, but the main positive I kind of took from this week was the scene where Ian rejected Jane's phone call.
Why isn't Jane back now? Max has been like caught, you know.
I know.
No, it was a brilliant scene though. It was very, very good, and I do think it just shows what Adam Woodyatt has. Like, he has these brilliant scenes he pulls out of the bag, and same with Gillian Tayforth, I think, as well. Yeah, when it's coming to Ben's exit. I think the Beals have been really strong this week.
Yeah, but very callous of Ian. I mean, you know, there's no reason for Jane not to come back now. I mean, she was kind of coerced out by the Brannings, and she's probably there. I mean, she wasn't even walking very well when she left. She might have fallen over, and Ian had rejected that call. I mean, shame on you, Ian, but it was a kind of comedy highlight, wasn't it?
Really was.
Well, join us in 7 days' time to find out whether Ian has made any inroads with Mel. I fear not, don't you?
I don't think we'll be seeing any repeats of the millennium.
No, definitely not. But we'll be back with another week in Walford.